Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Earth Twister here, and we are back with our Silk deck that we are running in Aggression, trying to focus on using cards like Spider-Woman and the Web of Life and Destiny. Now, the last couple of games, I used these four cards here. We had 2 copies of Dive Bomb, a Hall of Heroes, and a War Room. While these cards are great, they really weren't working in this deck the way I wanted them to, so I went ahead and cut them, and I added 4 other cards. And here's the reason why I added these 4 other cards, because I'm trying to use Spider-Woman and the Web and Life and Destiny as 2 key cards in this deck. And for that to really work, we're going to want to have some extra Web Warrior allies. So we're adding 2 other allies in here. We're adding Spider-Ham and SPDR. And whether I play them or not is going to be dependent on what's in my hand. But I think they're going to be helpful. And then, of course, to help be able to get things down, I have Helicarrier and Team Building Exercise. Team Building Exercise is going to trigger off the Web Warrior trait that Cindy Moon Silk has. And I think this is going to be really, really good. So let's go ahead and we'll shuffle these cards into the deck. I'm going to remove my Nemesis set here because that doesn't start. And then we'll get things set up. Now, the last couple of games didn't go well. I think it does have to do with the cards that were in my deck. I think it also had to do with a few of the choices that I made. So we're going to work on that and just see if we can make some better choices, as well as hope that these cards work well for us. Like I said, the key cards are going to be trying to get the Web of Life and Destiny out, as well as getting Spider-Woman. Now, we do have cards that are going to require us to be an alter ego to play, like Ingenuity, which is going to be a pretty big card for us. And we do have cards like some of her identity-specific cards that want us to be an alter ego as well. So we'll be switching back and forth, trying to make sure that the main scheme doesn't pop, but we'll do what we can as well. All right, so I've got that deck field pretty shuffled. Our hit points are set to 10. Let's see. The main one starts off, I believe it is Sinister Synchronization. So we'll go ahead and take the second scheme, the second part of the scheme there. So Sinister Synchronization says choose X villains at random. So I'm going to, where did my die go? Oh, man. I guess I put it in a bag here. I'm going to get a D6 out, and we're going to roll and see which 2 villains will start because we're playing in expert mode. So I have my green D6 here. So I'm going to roll, and it's going to be based on the activation order. So 3 and 5. So we're starting with villains 3 and 5 in play. So that's going to be Hobgoblin and Scorpion. I really didn't want to see Scorpion, but I guess that's what we got. All right, so they are put into play. And place the active counter on the villain with the lowest activation order value. So my active counter is here. And that's going to be put on Hobgoblin. Perfect. And then put light at the end. Side scheme into play. Trap side face up. So here's light at the end with trap side face up. Comes in with 10 threat plus 10 additional threat per player. So that's going to come in with 20 threat. There we go. And it says the players cannot win unless they escape. When the last threat is removed from the scheme, resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme and then flip this card. Okay, so I need to pay attention to that because I don't think I triggered that the last time I actually beat that side scheme. All right, so now we're going to flip this over, put the required threat on there. So that is 2 threat. And then it has ambush, which is a special, and forced interrupt. Okay, so it starts with 2 threat and goes up by 1 each phase. Now, I do have health dials here. So Hobgoblin is got 9 and Scorpion has 10. So we will do that. Perfect. So I think what I'm going to want to do here is probably, if I have some attack cards, target Scorpion first because we want to get rid of him. But we'll see what happens. So let's go ahead and draw our first 4 cards. We got Across the Spider-Verse, Spider-Woman, Scarlet Spider, SPDR, the Power of Aggression, and Endurance. Okay, so I do like Spider-Woman being in my hand. That's really good. And then Across the Spider-Verse could help us get another ally in play. Although I could just use this to play Spider-Woman, but I have the power of aggression. So I think these are the 4 cards I want to start with, and then we're going to discard these 2 and draw 2 more cards. We get Spider Reflexes and Genius. Okay. This is interesting. All right. I'm going to use Genius to put in Spider Reflexes. And I don't think... Yeah, Exhaust. So it does get an Exhaust token. There we go. And then I do want to try and get Cindy Moon or Spider Woman in. So I think this is going to be the best bet. I'm going to use the Power of Aggression as 2 resources and Endurance as a third to play Spider Woman. After a Web Warrior ally, including this one, enters play, deal damage to the enemy. The Scorpion now takes a damage. Perfect. Now, I do have Across the Spider-Verse still in hand, but I can't play it. So I'm going to go ahead and flip up and thwart 1 off of Sinister Synchronization. And then Spider-Woman. I think Spider-Woman's going to sit here for now. I'm not ready to use her, I don't think. So we'll go ahead, ready, and draw up to 5. There's Web of Life and Destiny and Ingenuity. Those are 2 good cards, but not to have right now. Okay. Well, one of them is good to have now. All right. So now it's the villain phase. Threat goes up by 1. Hobgoblin will attack. After Hobgoblin attacks and damages you, take 2 indirect damage, and then move the active counter to the next villain in activation order. I'm going to go ahead and defend. So that's going to be defending for 3. I did not shuffle this up, so I'm going to do that real quick. So I'm defending for 3, and Hobgoblin is going to attack for 1 plus a boost. Okay. 1 plus a boost. So 1, I'm defending for 3. 2, 3. I take no damage. That's a great use of Shadow of the Past. Activation counter moves over. There was no damage dealt, so I don't take any indirect. Then I get an encounter card. Frequent Flyers. In expert mode, this card gains Insight 1. So threat goes up by 1. It says, put the set aside Hobgoblin and Vulture into play. If Hobgoblin is already in play, take 2 indirect damage. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and take both of those to the face. And then that means Vulture comes in play now. All right, there's Vulture, and he is activation order 6. So I'm going to try and move these cards around here a little bit. So he's going to go there, and he has 7 hit points. He will just make me discard a card from my hand, which is not great, but I can also deal with it, I think, as Cindy Moon. Okay, so that is the villain phase. So now it is my turn. I'm going to play Web of Life and Destiny. I ignore its cost because I have the Web Warrior trait. Then I think I'm going to use Spider Claws. No, I'll hold on to those. I'll use Wall Crawl and Ingenuity. It's 2 resources to pay for Across the Spider-Verse. Or I think I'm going to use Spider Claws and Wall Crawl to pay for it. I'll hold on to Ingenuity because I think I'm going to flip down. So Across the Spider-Verse, and that is going to pull in... I can either bring in SPDR or I'll bring in Scarlet Spider. So that pulls in. So it's an exhaust Web Warrior card I control. I'll go ahead and exhaust Web of Life and Destiny. So search my discard pile for Web Warrior ally and put it into play. That is Scarlet Spider. Then I can choose a player, and that player may spend 3 resources of any type to repeat this ability. I cannot repeat it because I don't have 3 resources in hand. So that is that. I'll make that the top card of the discard pile. And then, of course, Ingenuity is still in my hand. So, what we're going to do is deal another damage here to Scorpion because Scarlet Spider came into play. That triggers Spider Woman. Then I'm going to have Spider Woman. No. Yeah, I'll have both of them attack for 2 each. So that's 4 total, bringing him down to 4. And they each take a consequential damage. Okay. Then I'm going to flip down. Was that a treachery? That is a treachery. So then I can draw this. That should have been put underneath, should have been tucked underneath me because of her ability. So then I flip down. And then I'm going to go ahead and discard this tucked card to draw 2 cards so that I can then use them as both as resources to play Ingenuity, which is a good start, I think. Okay, now we're going to ready and draw 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay, I think we got some good cards here. Maybe we can end up getting some more. We'll see. All right, so threat's going to go up by 1. Scorpion. So this is not after activation. It is after attacking. So, or yeah, after scheming. So he can scheme and it'll stay on him. So 0, 2. So he schemes for 2, bringing this up to 6. Then we get an encounter card. I'm going to call Treachery. It is. It puts 4th threat here for if that card is of the name type. So it adds the 4th threat there. It doesn't cancel it, but he takes a damage and I get to draw a card, which is always good. Card draw is always good. Okay. So that's that. I believe that was the villain phase. Now it's my turn. Let's see. I want to get Albert Moon down. Can I do that? So I can use mental, physical, and energy there, and these 2 for Albert Moon. Okay. I'm going to use these 2 as resources for Albert Moon. He comes in, and, or actually, I'm going to save the power of aggression and use Smooth the Silk as a second resource. So then Albert Moon is going to tuck the top card of the encounter deck underneath Cindy, who's going to discard it and draw 2 cards. Ooh, Organic Webbing. Okay. Get the scoop. Okay. So this is going to... Oh, I need to make sure. There's a wild and a physical, I guess. Okay. I think I want to do this. Now that I've done that, I'm going to go ahead and heal for 3. So that brings me back up to 10. And then flip up. I'm going to use a mental. And then these 2 will be wild, so physical and energy to play Spider-Man. Now that he came in, he's going to deal a damage here to Scorpion because of Spider-Woman. And then he is going to thwart 2 off of the main. He'll take a consequential. When he does that, that gets to ready another Web Warrior character I control. Then I'm going to use these 2 as resources to pay for Organic Webbing. Organic Webbing gives me +1 thwart. I can also discard a card that is tucked under me to ready and gain the aerial trait. I'm going to go ahead and thwart 2 off of the main also, bringing it down to 2. Then Scarlet Spider will attack for 2 here on Scorpion. And Spider Woman will finish him off. Now that he's defeated, active counter moves. Remove 4 threat from a side scheme and set the villain aside. So 4 threat gets removed off of light at the end. There we go. Now we got a little bit more space. She does take a consequential, and we probably won't want to use her for a little bit. That looks pretty good. I am out of cards in my hand, so that is my turn. We'll ready and draw up to 5. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, here we go. That goes up by 1, bringing this up to 3. Now Vulture is going to attack for 2 plus a boost. So after Vulture attacks and damages me, I choose 1 card from my hand and discard it. I think if I defend for 3, yeah, I'm going to let Scarlet Spider take this. So he's going to attack for 2, 3, 4, and I would have taken damage and then had to discard a card. So it's 4 damage to Scarlet Spider, which does defeat him. So he gets defeated, and as he is defeated, I get to draw a card. Because of Web of Life and Destiny. Now that that's happened, I move the active counter to the next villain in the activation order, which happens to be Hobgoblin. And we get an encounter card. Advance, which is a treachery, so that does get tucked under once this is resolved. So it's scheming for 2, 3. That brings us from 3 to 6. Perfect. That's actually not that bad. So we do have that under us. It's not of the same set, so it's not a huge thing. We have enough resources to pay for 2 allies if I wanted to. When Ghost Spider looks listed in his hand and add it to your hand. Okay. So I'm gonna use strength and ingenuity to pay for Spider Ham. No. Hold on. I don't think I want to use ingenuity for that. What I will do is I'm going to use ingenuity for a wall crawl. Remove 2 threat from a scheme, so I'm going to go ahead and remove 2 threat from the main. I'll exhaust to remove 2 more threat. Spider-Man will exhaust to remove the last 2 threat and ready me. Okay. Then I will use, yeah, I guess I'll bring in Spider-Ham. Might as well. Strength and Eidetic Memory. Pay for Spider-Ham. Then Spider-Ham will trigger a damage here on Hobgoblin. No, we'll focus here on Vulture. He's going to attack Vulture, or deal damage to Vulture. Then he'll attack Vulture for 2. The Vulture takes 2. And then we discard the top card of the encounter deck. And he takes 2 consequential damage. Then, why is Silk? Silk is ready because of Spider-Man. Yeah, so I thwarted 2 with Wall Crawl. There was 6 on here. Thwarted 2 with Wall Crawl. He thwarted 2. She had thwarted 2 already. She thwarted 2. He thwarted 2. So that was 6 removed. So she's ready still. She's going to attack here for 2. Then I'm going to use Organic Webbing and discard Advance to ready her. She'll attack 2 again and remove Vulture, which removes an additional 4 threat from this scheme. And now all we have is Hobgoblin. We have energy and ghost spider in our hand, so I think we'll hold on to those, and we'll wait for a web of life and destiny to trigger. I don't need to get to Albert Moon, I don't think, so we're gonna go ahead and ready. Plus that he does thwart for 2, or scheme for 2. And we'll draw up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There is a team building exercise. That'll be good. And a swinging silk kick. Okay. That goes up by 1. Hobgoblin schemes for 2 plus a boost, or attacks for 1 plus a boost. I'm gonna let Spider Ham take it. Spider Ham, so 1, 2, and deal 1 indirect damage to each player. So 2 indirect damage because I'm in expert mode. So I take 2 damage, and Spider Ham. That's indirect. I think that's fine. I won't take an additional 2. So Spider Ham gets defeated. He gets defeated and leaves play. I draw a card for Web of Life and Destiny. This does not come in. It's just the boost. Then we get an encounter card. It is a Treachery, Partnership of Pain. The villain with the lowest activation order attacks me with an attack value plus X, where X is equal to the total of attack of all other villains in play. There's no other villains in play, so he's going to attack me for 1 plus a boost. I will defend for 3. No boost. I take no damage. And that then gets tucked under Silk. Not bad at all. Okay. Okay. I'm going to do an energy to pay for a team building exercise. Looks like I can put that there. Then ingenuity, team building exercise, and investigative journalism will be 3 resources to pay for Spider-Man Hobie Brown. He will come in and thwart 2 off of the main here, or off of the light at the end. And when he comes in, he does trigger Spider-Woman's ability, so she deals a damage there to Hobgoblin. He takes 2 consequential for thwarting. And then Spider-Man is going to thwart 2 also, readying me, but he gets defeated. Leaves play. I get to draw a card. All of these cards are 3 cost in my hand. I will flip down here. A little risky. Actually, before I flip down, I'm going to thwart off the main and then flip down. I'm going to discard Partnership of Pain to draw 2 cards. Helicarrier and Outwit. Dang. I'm going to use these 3 as resources to pay for Helicarrier. So now I have another. I can pay for this card just from what's on the field. Then Albert Moon is going to take the top card and tuck it under Cindy. Okay, then I'm going to ready and draw 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get an extra encounter card. And this is where things start to become problematic because I'm getting extra encounter cards from decking out. But this deck is working a little bit better, I think, with those extra allies that I put in and getting these other cards that will help me pay for them. All right, so 5 and 6. What did we end up getting? Ooh, a Ghost Spider, Spider-Man, Smooth as Silk, Madam Web, Boot Camp, and Power of Aggression. Okay, that's the extra encounter card. Threat goes up by 1. Hobgoblin schemes for 2 plus a boost. 2, 3, 4, 5. Dang. He schemes for 5. He does not do the forced response because that's only on the attack. Then we reveal our encounter cards. The first one is a Treachery, Partnership of Pain. He's going to scheme again for 2, 4. That does put it at 10. So this pops. And we get Sinister Beatdown. When revealed, choose a set-aside villain at random. So anything but 3, 6. Okay, so it's Vulture's back. And place the active counter on it. And then I give myself another face down encounter card. Okay, so we flip this up. Comes in with 3 threat and pops at 7. And we get health for him, which is 7 health. Then our next card is Caught Off Guard. Discard an upgrade or support you control. If no cards were discarded this way, this card gains Surge. An upgrade or support I control. Oof. Guess we'll do Spider Reflexes. I mean, I don't want to, but I have to. And one more card is Life Size Decoy. He comes in with Toughness. And I can't thwart side schemes. This is where I really need my claws. But I can knock it off here in the next turn. Just fine. Okay. We've survived that round. That was the end of the villain phase. So now Albert Moon is going to heal a damage from me. And then I will flip up. We are going to use Helicarrier, Ingenuity, and Team Building Exercise to pay for Madam Web. After Web Warrior enters play, deal damage to an enemy. We'll knock the tough off here. Madam Web then looks at the top X cards of the encounter deck, where X is the number of Web Warrior cards I control. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. That is 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And look at them, and then I can discard one and put the rest back in any order. So this is a boost card, so he's going to be another minion coming into play. This wouldn't trigger as a boost, so that's good. That's an encounter card. He'll come in. Coordinated effort. Don't want that. Under fire. Kind of hate that. So boost is fine. Encounter card. Boost. Encounter card. Boost. That's assuming everything goes the way it should. I think what I want to do is I'm going to discard under fire. And then that should work. Okay. There we go. Then I'm going to use the Power of Aggression and Ghost Spider to pay for Boot Camp. Now all of my allies have +1 attack. And then I'm going to use Smooth as Snow because I know what those cards are. I think that's fine. We'll hold these cards in my hand for now. Silk is going to attack for 2 on Life Size Decoy. Madam Web will attack for 2. Then Spider-Man, Kobe Brown will attack for 2 and defeat the Life Size Decoy. He gets defeated. after you defeat a minion, side scheme, or resolve a treachery card. He comes in under me. That does defeat Hobie Brown, but when Hobie Brown would leave play, discard the top 3 cards of the encounter deck and deal damage to the villain equal to the number of boost icons discarded this way. This messes everything up. 1 damage. 1 damage to Vulture. He takes a consequential. I get to draw a card. Another Smooth as Silk, but I'm going to use both of them as resources to pay for Spider-Man. Spider-Man's going to come in and ready an upgrade I control. Let me backtrack that because I really should have thought about this more. I'm going to discard life-size decoy and trigger organic webbing to ready me. Then I'm going to attack Vulture for 2. Then I will use Smooth as Silk to pay for Spider-Man, which then will deal another damage here. And then I will ready organic webbing because it's an upgrade. And Spider-Man, he's just going to straight up attack for 3 on Vulture, which defeats him, so he gets defeated. I get to draw a card. And then since he's defeated, that moves there. This pops off, and we remove 4th threat, bringing that down to 8. Then Silk is going to discard Partnership of Pain to trigger Organic Webbing to ready me. And I will attack for 2 on Hobgoblin, taking him down to 6. No. I'm going to thwart for 2 on Sinister Beatdown, just so we get another bit of breathing room. All right. That's the end of the turn. We're going to ready and draw. There's not an additional villain, so I'm going to discard melee, and we're going to draw up to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. That goes up by 1. Hobgoblin attacks for 1. I will defend for 3. 1, 2, and a threat on each scheme. 2 threat on each scheme for expert. So I guess we can just do 2 3s here. Okay. So he attacked for 1, 2. I defended for 3. We survived that. Took no damage. Here's our encounter card. It is a side scheme. Each enemy gets +1 scheme and +1 attack, and it comes in with 5 threat. We have Spider-Man. Yeah. Mm, this is going to be interesting. And if this is not how this should be played, please let me know. I have no idea what's going on with this camera. That is very odd. Let me... It's being weird. Ah. Okay, well, it's gone for now. The camera's weird. Sorry, guys. We're bringing it back to the table. So if this is not how you play it, please let me know. But I'm going to use Spider-Man Peter Parker and a helicarrier to play across the Spider-Verse. Spider-Man Peter Parker would have gone to the discard pile to pay for him. So I'm going to choose him to bring him in. And I could spend an additional 3 resources if I wanted to, but I'm not going to. But I get Spider-Man in. That triggers Spider-Woman to deal damage on Hobgoblin. Then I will use... That doesn't help. Let me walk that back real quick, because I should have probably done this differently. Maybe. 'Cause I don't think I can use team building exercise to pay for anything in my hand, except for Spider-Man. But that doesn't help because there's still a requirement. So I can use Spider-Man and it will use Spider-Man and Ingenuity to pay for Across the Spider-Verse. We choose Spider-Man to come in, that deals the damage. Then I can use these 2 cards to pay for Spider Claws. All right. That was not 100% ideal, but it is what it is. All right. So I want to get a card. I think this is what I'll do. Spider-Man's going to thwart 2 here, taking this down to 3. He'll take a consequential, and that readies Silk. Silk is going to thwart also for 2 here, bringing this down to 1. Madam Web will finish the threat. He defeated, leave play, and I draw a card. Then that does defeat the side scheme, so it gets tucked under me. I'm going to use Organic Webbing, discard this to ready. Then I will attack Hobgoblin for 2. Brings him down to 5. No, I will not attack Hobgoblin. I will thwart 2 off of the main. All I got was the power of aggression that time, so I'm going to ready and draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, we got some attack cards now. Threat goes up by 1, bringing this up to 3. Hobgoblin attacks for 1 plus a boost. I will defend. So 1, no boost. I don't take any damage. We get an encounter card. It is a attachment. I can't thwart off the main until he's defeated. Yeah, so cool. That is the end of that. So melee is not going to be helpful. So I can swinging silk kick and wall crawl maybe. 1, 2. So 1, 2, 3 for a swinging silk kick. I can deal 7 damage to Hobgoblin, so that defeats him. He gets defeated, and because he was the last villain in play, I get to remove 7 threat from this scheme. Perfect. So that is swinging silk kick. There are no villains in play. Hallelujah. So I will use a swinging silk kick to play wall crawl and remove 2 threat from Sinister Beatdown. Spider-Man will thwart 2 off of light at the end, which readies me, and I'll thwart the last from light at the end. When the last threat is removed from this scheme, resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme. So we get choose a set-aside villain at random and put that villain into play. Place the active counter on it, and then place 2 threat. So we get 2. So this does flip. We get 2, which is Electro. This comes in with 5, 15, plus 2. 5, 15 plus 2 because we had to trigger the ambush ability. All right. So that was it's still my turn. I think he can scheme for 2 plus a boost. I think I won't. So I'm going to give him his consequential that he needs. Ready and drop to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. He has 8 hit points. Threat goes up by 1. Electro attacks for 1 plus a boost. I'll defend for 3. 2, I take no damage. He does have the active counter. We get an encounter card, and it is from every direction. In expert mode, this card gains surge, so we'll get an extra card. And then place 1 threat on the main scheme for each enemy in play. There is 1 enemy in play. So 1 threat. The treachery that comes under me after it resolves. And we get an assault, which means the villain attacks me. You don't want to discard the top 7 cards of my deck, so Spider-Man Peter Parker will defend for me. So 1, 2, that does defeat Spider-Man. He leaves play. I get to draw a card for Web of Life and Destiny. That was a treachery, so that does come under me. Perfect. Okay, now it is my turn. So team building exercise, Helicarrier, and Ingenuity will pay for Spider-Ham. That deals 1 damage to Electro. Then Genius will be 2 resources to pay for SPDR to deal another damage to Electro. And then we'll go ahead and do 3 resources to pay for Melee. Deal 3 damage to an enemy and 3 damage to another enemy. It just means we deal 3 damage here. So then Spider-Ham will swing for another 3. That defeats him. But we look at the top card, discard the top card of the encounter deck. He takes no consequential damage. That's great. But he was the last person in play. So we remove 7 threat from light at the end. Ooh, I did not see this. So actually, this would have resolved. He would have schemed for 2 plus a boost. And that would have been 2, 4, 4. Which means I would have lost, right? Because of the extra boost, the extra encounter card that I forgot about. Well, because I forgot about it, we'll just play like that didn't happen. Theoretically, I would lose, but I totally forgot about it. So we know it's coming, but that's cleared. So we just have 10 threat there. We'll go ahead and thwart 2 with SPDR. She takes 2 consequential damage, which means she gets removed. I draw a card. I'm going to discard from every direction to ready with organic webbing, and I will thwart 2. And I think I'll leave that, so we'll enter the villain phase and hope we don't lose. Basically, again, I guess. So 1 goes up by 1. We trigger ambush. So we get a random 2. Electro's back. This goes up by 2. Or no, light at the end goes up by 2 because of the ambush. Then he has 8 hit points. He'll attack for 1 plus a boost. I'll defend. 1, 2, 3. 3 plus 0. So He attacks for 3. I defend for 3. No damage. Then we get an encounter card. Resolve the ambush ability on the main scheme. 5. So that means Scorpion comes in. He gets the active counter and 10 hit points. Then we add 2 threat, 2 light at the end. This also gets a... Which apparently I have... Oh, there they are. A boost icon. And by boost, I mean acceleration token. Okay. So yeah, that was the villain phase. So that gets put underneath me, which is good. That was the villain phase. I didn't draw my hand. Wait. That card gains surge. So yeah, we get an extra card here. Resolve the ambush ability. So I think I didn't draw my hand. So I'm going to draw out my hand. This feels weird. We get our extra encounter card, which is we add 4 threat there. Okay. I'm going to use Ingenuity to play Wall Crawl. Actually, hold on. Before I do that, I want to ready. How do I ready? I don't ready. I can't ready. Not without discarding a card. Okay, we'll do that. We'll discard a card to ready. I will attack for 3 on Scorpion, taking him down to 7. Then I will Ingenuity to play Wall Crawl and discard Surprise. I think I attack for 3, yeah, because of Spider Claws. So Wall Crawl to remove 2 threat from a scheme. So I'll remove 2 threat here. And then I'm going to discard a card tucked under Silk from the same encounter set as the chosen scheme. So I remove 2 threat from a scheme, then I choose a scheme. So I can remove 3 threat from that scheme. So remove 3 threat from there. Team building exercise, helicarrier, and strength will pay for Scarlet Spider. Triggers a damage here on Scorpion. Scarlet Spider will attack for 3. Take a consequential. Spider Ham will attack for 3, which does defeat Scorpion. And we discard the top card of the encounter deck and deal 2 damage to Spider Ham. So he's defeated. That removes 4 threat from this scheme. And he's the only one left in play. Threat will go up by 2. I think I can handle this. Let's stay up. And we'll ready and draw. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I get an extra encounter card. I will get 3 encounter cards this phase. Threat goes up by 2, bringing this up to 4. Electro will attack me for 1 plus a boost. I'll defend for 3. He attacks me for 4, so I take a damage, and then discard the top 7 cards in my deck. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay. Then we get our encounter cards. So that's the first, second, and third. First one, heighten morale, life-size decoy, partnership of pain. He's going to attack me. It is a treachery. He's going to attack me with plus X, where X is equal to the number of attack of all other villains in play. Okay. So he's just going to attack for 1 plus a boost. We'll go ahead and have Spider Ham defend. So he takes 1 damage. That defeats Spider Ham. I draw a card for Web of Life and Destiny. That's kind of crazy that we survived that. Okay, so we do have Tough. Do I have a way to get a Guerrilla Tactics card? I don't. Do I have a way to... No, I don't. Okay. Okay. 1, 2, 3 to pay for Swinging Silk Kick, which we'll do straight here on Electro. That deals 7 damage to Electro, taking him down to 1. Scarlet Spider will attack him for 3, defeating him. He was the last one in play, so we remove 7 threat from Light at the end. It's not a thwart, so I can still do it. I just, yeah. So that was tough. And if you guys feel like I should have just played the loss and called it, I totally understand that. I did forget about this icon right here, but playing it through did allow us to win. Shows that the deck does work. We just have to be a little bit quicker on our feet. I do like this deck. I think it is good the way that it is, and I think I do want to continue playing Silk at different times and different aspects. But I think we're going to move on to Black Panther for our next few rounds. Let me know what you guys think down in the comments below about this game, and we'll see you guys in the next one.